Alrighty guys, Azzy here, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Legends TOP video. So this is not the normal guide video. Before we even hop into anything, the first thing that I want to tell you guys is wait before you guys lock in your team. I made a community post and stuff like that, also reiterating the same thing. Right now, we have like a heavy lack of information, and I do not want to spread misinformation for this season because everything got completely flipped over on its head, and we're going to go through like a brief overview of what I think and some of my theories. I want to know what some of your guys' theories are in the comments down below in order to get through this while also securing that 1000 CC, right? So last season we ended up at rank 2215. Definitely was happy with this as we used a new team that did not need boo tanks, but this season is different. There are changes that come with this new season, and these changes do include a new boo system that we can go ahead and check out. So we have a different scoring system right here. So tier Z goes from battle score plus 4% all the way up to 20%, S goes from 3% to 10%, A goes from 2% to 5%, and B goes from 1% to 2%. For tier C, it's going to remain as none. Now, this doesn't seem like I feel like the score system, there was nothing wrong with the score system. Truthfully, I feel like there is nothing wrong with it. I don't think they needed to buff it or like decrease it in any way, shape, or form. It was more so coming from the tiers, what units were on the tiers, and I still think that is an issue right here, right? So now that we have this out of the way, we know that there's a new score system, so everyone and their mamas is going to want to run tier Zs, right? Right, because look at how much of a significant bonus that it gives, 20%. So I think this is going to be really difficult here, because back in the last season, a lot of like very powerful units were in tier Z. There was like a bunch of regeneration teams that you can make from tier Z. There was a bunch of like GT was pretty much all Z tier, LOE was pretty much all Z tier, so this wouldn't really affect you too much if this was in the last season. But because of not only did this change, but the way that the tier system changed, right? That's where I really think that went wrong. All right, so these are the current boost characters, right? This is tier Z, and it is pretty much just all EX units. There are a couple standout units here, but that is pretty much it. Like Metal Cooler, Blue Metal Cooler, I think he's going, if we're going to run regeneration this season, we're definitely bringing in this Blue Metal Cooler right here. Like, we have no other choice, right? But everything else is very just trash. Look at this. Look at this. It's just all bad. I mean, that blue fascia is decent, I suppose, and then there's also the 1000 day Bulma, but there's going to be some of you guys that are watching this video that don't even have the 1000 day Bulma, right? Like, I can't say that all of you don't have her, but I can't say that all of you do have her. And when we look at S tier, I mean, it gets a little bit better, but still pretty rough. Look at that, it's just flooded with trash, and you can kind of just see that trend go on and on throughout the other tiers. But once you get into C tier, that's when it really hurts us, right? Because these C tier units get no boost percentage at all. So look, immediately this guy's was on our team last season, right? The Kid Buu, the free-to-play Kid Buu. He should not be in the 0%. He should not be in C tier. Goopray should not be in 0% either, right? Like, so it's just absolutely crazy to me. The Green 21 also was on our team. Free-to-play characters should not be on this tier, in my own opinion, but that's just how I feel. And look at this. This is pretty much regeneration in a nutshell right here. Legends Louis to Piccolo, Super Baby 2. I mean, look at even Sun Family teams suffer here, bro. Like, I wanted to run Sun Family this season. I kind of still do, but it's just going to be really difficult, right? Like, it's just, in terms of points, the teams are still great. Like, this did not take away from how good the teams are in TOP, but it does take away from how much points they get, right? So now it kind of feels like you have to run a trash team in order to get good points, right? Because it just, everyone suffers here. Even that Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, like, it just, I think Fat Buu is, yeah, even Fat Buu right here, right? So it's almost like they're killing off these teams. And I don't know if it's going to, obviously it's going to make the board easier next season, but the biggest issue with this is because now all these characters are trash. Look at the board that we still have this season. We still have Sun Family fights where on the board and stuff like that, right? Like, literally when you start off, the 5th stage is Sun Fam. Like, if they were going to make such a drastic change to this, why wouldn't they change the board? Look at even this 4th stage right here, Sun Family. You go up here, 5th stage, Sun Fam. Like, it's just crazy to me right now that yes, like, I want to change in TOP. Yes, I wanted to change the meta and stuff like that. But how is forcing us to change the meta but not changing our opponents? How does that make sense? So this is the main reason why I wanted to go ahead and hold off on this video a bit longer, is because I wanted to see how this affected the leaderboard. When we look at the boost units, nearly every meta relevant has been completely demoted, right? Now let's go ahead and look at the top 1,000. So we can go in here, and it's almost an entire full girls teams here, right? But will they survive? Because let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think, right? Will these units survive? Because all of these units on these teams look very mediocre or just straight up bad. We can even go over some of let's go over some of these units actually. All right, so we have the number 1 player right here, Muto. And so he's running the girls team, right? So pretty much all of his units are Z tier. This is all the Z tier girls right here, by the way, that I have pulled up on the screen in front of you. So he has this 1,000 day Bulma, right? Like I said before, you have to been playing for 1,000 days in order to obtain her. And she actually looks pretty decent here, right? She buffs her allies. She also has a cover change, I do believe, once they get below 50% HP, and she also heals herself. I think that's the most important part, is that these characters need sustainability, right? So she heals herself by 2%, and she does buff the girl's tag, base strike and blast attack, so she's easily the best one on this team right here. And her key restore speed is actually really damn good. Look at that, 2,625. But who do you need to outspeed here? What is the main unit you need to outspeed for TOP? Is Goten, and Goten's color is yellow, so it's like she's not going to do anything to Goten. So I guess we can just go down the list right here. Let's take a look at this EX Zange right here. What is her key restore speed? 2,300, very bad, right? I'm not even gonna say very bad, but can't outspeed Goten. Cannot outspeed Goten right here. And these EXs, they're limited to only 1 TOP ability unless they have a Zenkai, right? The only characters that have 2 Tournament of Power abilities are Sparkings and Zenkai EXs, right? So you're kind of like out of luck right there in that aspect. So you only get 40% of strike damage inflicted, and at the end of turn, you actually, for episode sagas or girls, 15% to damage inflicted and 15 to key recover. That's honestly, for only having 1 passive, that's not too bad either. But it's just she's gonna be an EX. She's gonna have EX stats. But she does buff girls, but only a singular Z ability, right? It's not a double Z ability, it's only for base strike attack. So that's another thing that's telling of just how difficult it's going to be. And then we have Red Videl right here. This is a red unit, right? Red unit, look at her key restore speed, 2,400. Not, even at Friendship Rank 10, is not going to be able to outspeed Goten, right? You cannot take on these Sun Family fights. You just can't, not with these guys right here. Again, a singular Tournament of Power passive ability. Get 30% to strike damage, minus 20% to damage received, and 50% to strike damage on a turn basis, right? So first turn, second turn, third turn. Not good enough. Not good enough. At least she has a double Z ability though, 28% to base strike and blast defense. And I don't want to go through every single character because that trend just goes on and on right here. Like even like this purple Chi-Chi, she's not going to be able to outspeed Goten. She does have, she actually has, at 14 stars, she has a pretty decent Z ability. I'm not even going to lie about that. She has damage reduction against Sun Family, which is pretty solid, right? Which it's definitely solid given how meta relevant Sun Family is on the opponent's team. She gives 15% to damage inflicted for allies, and at the start of turn, ally tag girls 10% in damage for damage inflicted, right? I mean, it's just mediocre, right? Like I said, it's either these units are either very mediocre, or decent, or they're just straight up bad. It's not enough. Even though they all kind of like quote unquote work together and stuff like that, they don't really have the stats to prove it. Before this meta change, these guys were nowhere near top tier units, right? And they're still not top tier units, and that's why I'm just afraid of their survivability within the game mode. But like I said before, that's what we have to wait. We have to obtain this information because it's still very early on in the season. So I'm going to be straight up honest with you guys. I definitely do want to wait until we get further into the season before even doing anything here. And I'd advise you guys to do the same thing, because once you start that first battle, you lock yourself into that specific team. Unless you land on a yellow tile space, which is never advised. Never, ever, ever, right? And as sad as it sounds, we have to let the current players, in order to be as safe as possible, we have to let the current players who started be our guinea pigs and see how well they end off. Basically, right now, things are 100% a waiting game. And so lastly, I loaded up the entirety of the leaderboard on day one, right? On day one, right? And look at the drastic difference in points from number 1 to 1,000. right? As people start using more conventional teams, right, the further we get down the leaderboard, people are using units that are more comfortable, right? Like I've even seen some teams with Boo Tanks and Super Baby 2. I've seen some people using the Dominion squad, right? These teams are not netting enough points to be towards the top, right? And that's honestly okay, because we never really aim towards like #1 or even just the top 100 in general, right? We just want the 1000 CC, right? But the point of this video is that at the time of recording, I can't confidently give you guys the guide I want to give you, and it legitimately irritates me saying that, because TOP is not a game mode where I can just test stuff out and report back to you guys over and over, right? I get one run, and if I mess up that one run, that's pretty much GG's, right? So I could probably test something out. I could test something out and be like, okay, well, this is what I tested, and then what if you guys come back and be like, okay, well, can you test this? No, right? We would have to wait for the next season, right? So when I tell you to just wait before the season comes to a close, I will give a full guide, right? All I know right now is that the current meta does involve using the Z tier units, such as a girls team, right? That seems the most meta thing possible, is EX girls, and then go for the safest route possible, trying to avoid just all Sun family teams possible, right? These units are not built for any Sun family fights, especially those that consist of Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. So in general, there are only pretty much two working theories right here. One that I've already touched upon is you go through Z units and S tier units, and you go for the easiest route possible, or you go with A and B tier units, right? Maybe a C tier unit for the difficult fights, but then if you go with any of these tiers, you have to go through the hardest route possible, right? And obviously, you don't want too many C tier units on your team that are going to be giving you no boost at all. Once again, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. This is, honestly, it's very frustrating, because at this point in time, I don't even really know what I want to do. I don't want to use the girls team. I'm going to be real honest with you guys. I don't want to use the girls team. We might have to. I'm not too sure. If we do have to, then that's what we'll do. We'll try to do our best, but we are going to have to go for the easiest route possible. Maybe this does correct itself in future seasons, depending on what we see in the board. I think the only thing that really screws us over here is the board. I think that's the main issue here, is the board itself. But with that being said, if you guys do enjoy the content, definitely let me know by leaving a like, a comment, maybe even consider hitting that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching.